Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
So, in the last lecture, we have discussed about some properties of absolute value function, and also we have seen some examples. Okay, so now today uh, we will see the new topic. The name of the topic is interval. All of you are aware of intervals. There are different types of interval: closed interval, open interval, bounded interval, unbounded interval. So these are all different types of interval. Now today we will see what is the definition of interval, and then we will see characterization theorem. Okay, so the name of the topic is interval. So let us see the definition of interval. The following subsets of R are called the interval. So the first one is this. Uh, Closed interval AB. It contains set of all x R so that A less than or equal to x less than or equal to B. Then second one is open interval AB. So we exclude the endpoints so that A less than x less than B. Open closed. Then closed open in this set. Then these are all bounded intervals. Now let me define unbounded interval. A to infinity. It contains set of all x in R such that A less than or equal to x or x greater than or equals to A. Then open A less than x or x greater than A. Then let me define minus infinity to A. X belongs to R such that x less than or equal to A. And now minus infinity to open interval A. X belongs to R such that x is less than. So these are the subsets of R, and they are known as intervals. So now look at these first four intervals. So they are known as bounded intervals, and these four are known as unbounded intervals. The intervals 1, they are known as unbounded intervals. Now we will see one characterization theorem. What does it tell us? This is a very important result actually. Theorem is known as characterization theorem. Let me state the statement. What does it tell us? So this is the statement. This theorem is known as characterization theorem. So this is the statement. So what does it tell us? If S is a subset of R that contains at least 2 points and has the property if x, y belongs to S and x less than y, then closed interval xy is a subset of S. Actually this is if and only. Then S is interval. And if S is interval and if it satisfies this condition, then it is also the converse is also true in this case. So let's see the proof. So it is given that for every x, y from S, x less than y, this implies that closed interval xy is a subset of S. So before going to proof, let me written in this way, since its converse is also true. Let me state again this result. This also can be written as, or let me, okay. So this is a characterization theorem, or let me state again. This is also known as characterization theorem. Let I subset of R be given, prove that I is an interval if and only if every xy belongs to I with x less than y, we have x less than z less than y. If I take any element between x and y, this implies that z is also a member of I. Or from this you can say that open interval xy is a subset of z. Sorry, I, not z. What does this mean? Z is a member of open interval x and y. So this is a generalization of this. This is a more general case. Okay. So we will see the proof of this. Actually, both are same. First, let me assume that I is an interval. Okay. Suppose I is an interval, then it is equal to any one of this 8 interval. Okay. I is any one of this. Now I want to show that if I take any two members from this interval I with x less than y, and if I take any number between these two elements, then I want to prove that z is in I. But by the definition of interval itself, it is clear that if I take x and y from I which satisfy this condition, then z belongs to I. Clearly, since I is an interval for any xy belongs to I with x less than y and x less than z less than y, this implies that z belongs to I. So now let us see the converse part. So conversely, assume that for every xy from I, x less than y, x less than z less than y implies z is a member of I. What is my claim? My claim is this: I want to prove that I is an interval. So there are 8 types of intervals. See, look at this, and I want to show that I is any one of this. Okay, so obviously proof is lengthy. We will see one by one case. Okay, so this is my claim. Since I is a subset of R, I is a subset of R, there are two possibilities. Either it is bounded or it is unbounded. Okay, so we will prove in both the cases that I is an interval. So first let's discuss bounded cases. Suppose I is bounded subset of R. Therefore it is bounded below and bounded above. Since R has LUB property, LUB and GLB property. LUB property and R has LUB and GLB property. LUB of I and GLB of I exist in R. So therefore there exist A and B from I such that, let me take A equal to GLB of I, B equal to LUB of I. Okay. So now again there are four possibilities. There are four possibilities for elements A and B. So first one is this. It may happen that A belongs to I, B belongs to I. It may happen that A belongs to I, but B does not belongs to I. The third case, A does not belongs to I, B belongs to I, A and B does not belongs to any. So there are only four possibilities. Okay. So in the each and every case, in this case I will show that I is equal to closed interval AB. In this case I will show that closed open. Abhay, tell me, what should I write here?
Open A, open A, close B.
Yes. And here I should write
Open A.
open interval. So I will give the proof of only one cases, and similar cases can be proved. Okay. So case 1. Let us assume that A belongs to I, B belongs to Y. What is my claim? I want to show that I is equal to closed interval AB. So how can I show that I is equal to closed interval AB? I should show that I is a subset of closed interval AB and closed interval AB is a subset of I. Then I can say that both are same as a set. Okay. So first I show that I is a subset of closed interval AB. So I should take some element from I. So let X belongs to I. Be given. So this implies that since A is GLB of I, B is LUB of I. So what is the relation between X and A and B? Since A is GLB, A less than or equal to X, and B is LUB, so X less than or equal to B. So therefore from this you can say that X is a member of closed interval AB according to definition of closed interval AB. When you can say that some element is in closed interval AB if it satisfies this condition, A less than or equal to X less than or equal to B. Therefore you have taken any element from I. This implies that X belongs to, therefore I is a subset of. Now for the reverse inclusion, I should take some element from closed interval AB. Next, suppose that let me take X belongs to AB, closed interval AB. So this implies that immediately you can say that A less than or equal to X less than or equal to B by the definition of interval. Okay, now see, now look at this portion. A less than or equal to x, and A is nothing but GLB of I. What is GLB? GLB means greatest lower bound which is greatest. So A is the greatest lower bound. So if there is one element which is bigger than A, then that element cannot be a lower bound of x. So x cannot be a lower bound of I. So therefore there exists some element, let me say that element to be P. There exists P belongs to I such that A less than P, or not A less than P, P less than X. So this is by definition of greatest lower bound. If I have any element which is bigger than greatest lower bound, then that cannot be a lower bound of set. So there exists some P from I such that this happens. Okay. So now also consider this portion, x less than or equal to b, and b is nothing but LUB of I. LUB means upper bound which is least. So if I take any element which is smaller than upper bound, then that cannot be an upper bound of set. So x cannot be an upper bound of I. Therefore there exists some q belongs to I such that x less than q. So now look at this. Therefore from this I have P from I. Therefore there exists P and Q from I such that P less than X less than Q. So I have two elements which is in I, and I have one element which is between I. Between these two elements, I have two elements P and Q from I, and I have one element which is between P and Q. So according to our hypothesis or our assumption, if I have any two element x and y with x less than y, and if z is an element which is lies between x and y, then definitely z is in I. So this element must be in I. So in our case, therefore x belongs to I by assumption. So therefore for every x belongs to closed interval AB, this implies that x belongs to I. Therefore you can say that closed interval AB is subset of I. Let me say this is true. By 1 and 2, you can say that closed interval AB is equal to I, or I equal to AB. So the first case is proved. So similarly other cases can be proved. Now next assume that I is an unbounded subset of R. So then we have the following three possibilities. The first one is this: I is bounded below but not above, or bounded above and not below. This is the first: bounded below, not above. And the third case, neither bounded below nor above. So let's consider the first case. I is bounded above but not bounded below. Okay, so what does this mean? LUB of I exists in R. So let me say LUB of I is equal to A. Let A equal to LUB of I. Okay. So again, there are two possibilities for A. Therefore, either A is a member of I or A does not belong to I. So if A belongs to I, then we show that I is equal to minus infinity to A. And if this is not a member of I, then we show that I equal to, so in this case, suppose A belongs to I. We show that I is nothing but minus infinity to close A. So if I want to show that these two sets are same, I should show that they are subsets of each other. Okay. So let me take one element from I. So this implies that if I take any element from I and since A is equal to LUB of I, you can definitely say that X less than or equal to I. Therefore, X belongs to X less than or equal to A, not I. So X belongs to minus infinity to A. Therefore, for every X belongs to I, this implies that X belongs to minus infinity to A. Or you can say that I is a subset of minus infinity to A. So let me say this to be 3. Now let us take some element from right side. Let X belongs to minus infinity to close interval A. We show that X is a member of I. So this implies that X less than or equal to A. But what is A? A is a LUB of I. LUB means upper bound which is least. So if I take any element which is smaller than A, then that element cannot be an upper bound. Okay, so X cannot be an upper bound of I. This implies that there exists some element, say I will give name of this element is Q. There exists some Q belongs to I such that X is less than Q. Now I is not bounded below. We have assumed that. And X belongs to R. Okay. This implies that there exists some P belongs to I such that P less than X. Why you can find out such type of elements? The reason is this. When you can say that I is bounded below, when you say that I is bounded below, if you can find if you can find some element, let us say small m less than or equal to X, and this is true for every X belongs to R. If such type of m exists, I is bounded below, what does it mean? There exists m belongs to R such that m less than or equal to X. So that for every X belongs to I, m less than or equal to X in terms of quantifier. Okay, then I can say that I is bounded below. Now I am saying that I is not bounded below. What does it mean? Negation of this. I want to negate this statement. For every m belongs to R, I can find out there exists some X in I such that m is greater than X. Okay. So according to this, I have used this fact. Since I is not bounded below and I have already X is in R, so corresponding to that X belongs to R, I can find out in place of X, I can find out P belongs to I such that X is greater than P, or P less than X. So according to this, I can always find out some P from I such that P less than X. Now let me put this together. Therefore exist P and Q from I. See here, I have found here Q belongs to I, and from here I have found P belongs to I. So therefore according to assumption, what can you say about X, Abhay? Abhay,
Sir.
what can you say about X according to our assumption? Now P and Q belongs to I and P less than X less than Q. So X is also belongs to I. Therefore, from which set I have taken X? X belongs to minus infinity to A, implies X belongs to I. Therefore, minus infinity to A is a subset of I. So let me say this to be 4. Or I is an interval. So similarly, if A does not belongs to I, then what is I? I is equal to minus infinity to A. And in the similar way, remaining cases can be proved. So this is the characterization theorem. Okay, so you can see the proof of the theorem is very lengthy. So this is the statement which is given in your textbook, but since converse is also true, I have written in this way. Okay. So this theorem is known as characterization theorem. So now the next theorem is nested interval property. It's a very important property. So nested sequence of intervals. So before, first let me write down nested interval. What is nested interval? So a sequence IN of intervals is said to be nested if it is decreasing. Decreasing sequence of intervals is known as nested interval. Okay. So this is the definition. A sequence IN of intervals IN is decreasing. What does this mean? That is, IN is nest if and only if this is decreasing. If and only if IN is IN plus 1 is subset of IN for every n belongs to n. So IN plus 1 is a subset of IN. So if you take n equal to 1, then you will get I1. So I1 is the largest open or close or any interval. So if IN is decreasing, then you can say that sequence of intervals is a nested sequence of intervals. So let me put a figure. So this is the figure. See, so I1 is the largest. So you can see from the figure. So this interval is the largest, but then I2. I2 is smaller than I1, then I3, then I4, I5, etc. So if IN satisfy this condition, then you can say that IN is a nested sequence of intervals. So obviously we should have one example, at least one. Let me take one example. Consider the sequence IN is equal to, let me take minus 1 upon n to 1 upon n enclosed interval. Okay. So and for obviously n is in n belongs to n. Now you can see that this sequence of interval is a nested sequence of interval. So this is origin. Okay. And all the elements are lies between -1 to 1. Then the next in -1/2 to 1/2. Then the half of -1/3, maybe it is somewhere here and here. So this is your I1 from -1 to 1. What is I1? Close interval -1 to 1. What is I2? -1/2 to +1/2. So it is a smaller interval than I1. It is smaller than I1. Then I3 is equal to -1/3 to 1/3. So from this, therefore, you can say that IN is a decreasing sequence of interval. Therefore, IN is nest. So, if someone asks a question about nested sequence of interval, then you just need to show that that sequence must be decreasing. Okay, if the sequence is decreasing, then you can say that that sequence of interval is nested sequence of interval. Here, now tell me what is intersection of IN? Bye-bye. What is intersection of all these ions? Is there any common element which is in all ion?
सर જે લાસ્ટ જે સેટ હોય તે
Yes, क्या आप बता रहे हो?
લાસ્ટ જે સેટ આવે આવી રીતે I1 I2 I3 જે રીતે જઈએ છે આપણે.
Yes, so this is infinite sequence. We will not terminate after finite state. So this is an infinite sequence, okay? So n tends to infinity. So 1/n goes to
0.
0. So what can you guess? What is the intersection of all these ions? It must be equal to
0.
0.
Singleton
So
0.
Singleton 0, yes. So let me prove this thing. Note that if I want to show that, as I said, these two are same, then I should show that they are subsets of each other. So first I show that 0 is a subset of intersection of IN. 0 belongs to IN for every n belongs to n. Okay, you can see 0 is a member of I1, I2 and so on. Therefore 0 is a member of intersection of IN. Therefore singleton 0 is a subset of Now I should show that this is a subset of this. Okay, I want to show that intersection of IN is a subset of 0. So equivalently I should show, if I show that if I take some element which is not in this set, then it is also not in this set. So we show that contrapositive. If X does not belongs to this set, then X cannot be in clear. So now let me take some element which is not in this set. Therefore, x does not belongs to 0. Okay, and what does this mean? Tell me. Since x belongs to 0 is a member which is in every ion. Okay, if I take some element x which is not equal to 0, therefore there exists some n in n such that x does not belongs to ion. Okay, therefore x does not belongs to intersection of ion, isn't it? Since x is not in one ion, then definitely I can say that it is not in their intersection. So therefore, if x does not belongs to this set, then it is also not in this set. Therefore, you can say that intersection of ion is a subset of zero. So let me say this to be 2. So by 1 and 2, you can say that 0 is the only element which is in the intersection of all ion. Okay. So now let me take another sequence. Is ion nest see, look at this. What can you say about ion? Increasing or decreasing? Okay.
Increasing.
Increasing, not decreasing. See, if you take n equal to 1, then I1 is nothing but minus 1 to 1, which is a subset of minus 2 to 2, which is equal to I2. I2 is a subset of I3. I3 is a subset of I4. Or you can say that ion is increasing. Therefore, ion is not nest. For nest, you must have decreasing sequence of intervals. Clear? So now very important result, nested interval property. Okay, so this is about nested intervals. Let us see nested interval property. So let me first write down the statement. Okay, so what is the statement of nested interval property? If ion is a nested sequence of closed and bounded intervals, Then prove that there exists xi belongs to R such that xi belongs to the intersection of all these ions. See, that is, intersection of ion is always non-empty. There is some element in their intersection. Moreover, if GLB of Bn minus An, where n belongs to n, is 0, then xi is unique. Or intersection of ion contains exactly one point psi, where ion is equal to closed interval An Bn. So this is the statement of nested interval property. So ion is a sequence, nested sequence of closed and bounded. So already we have given that intervals are closed and bounded. Okay, so and also we have given that ion is closed interval A and Bn. Then I want to show that there is some element xi belongs to R, so that xi belongs to intersection of ion. So let us see the proof. Proof is very interesting. Okay, so let An, it is given An equal to, or let me take An closed interval A and Bn, for n belongs to n. Since ion is a nested sequence of interval, you can say that ion is decreasing. So ion plus 1 is properly contained, ion plus 1 is a subset of ion for every n belongs to 1. So what is the relation? What is ion plus 1? Replace n by n plus 1. So An plus 1, Bn plus 1 is a subset of An comma, and this is true for all n in n. So I1 is the largest element, our largest interval. Okay, hence you can say that I1 is the largest, then I2, then I3, then I4, and so on. Okay. So A1, B1 is the largest interval. So now let us define set S. S is equal to An, where n belongs to n. And clearly S is a subset of R, and it is non-empty. Since A1 is member of S, you can say that it is non-empty and all ANs are real, therefore S is a subset of R. Now look at this, I1 is the largest interval. Note that In is a subset of I1 for every n belongs to n. So you can say that closed interval A and Bn. See, this is A1, let me say this is B1, and this is An and Bn. Okay, A and Bn is contained in I1. So you can say that An is less than or equal to which number? Bn. B1. Isn't it? For all n in n. An is always less than or equal to Bn. Therefore, you can say that B1 is an upper bound of set S. Or S is bounded above. So LUB of S exists in R. So therefore, there exists some xi belongs to R such that xi equal to LUB of S. So I have found some xi which is equal to LUB of S. Okay. So now I want to show that this xi belongs to intersection of IN. So this portion is still remain to show. I have just find out some element xi which is in R. Okay, now we show that xi belongs to intersection of IN. So next claim is this. Or you must have to show that xi belongs to IN for every n belongs to n. Then and then only xi is in their intersection. Or you must have to show that an less than or equal to xi less than or equal to bn. Okay, if you can show this inequality, then we have done. So one part of this inequality is very obvious. An less than or equal to xi. Why this is obvious? Since xi is equal to LUB of S, an less than or equal to xi for every n belongs to, by the very definition of set S. See, look at set S. S is nothing but an where n belongs to n, and xi is least upper bound, so an less than or equal to xi. So this portion is clear. Now to show this portion, first we show that in order to show xi less than or equal to bn for all n belongs to n, we show that this is the beauty of this proof. An less than or equal to bm for every n and m See, if I can show that an less than or equal to bm for all m and for all n, ये देखिए ये बहुत ही लॉजिकल पार्ट है. अगर मैं ये बता दूं an लेस देन और इक्वल टू bm फॉर एवरी m एंड n बिलोंग्स टू n, तो क्या होगा यहाँ पे? फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल फिक्स m को मैं फिक्स कर देता हूँ, तो यहाँ पे क्या होगा? bm विल बी एन अपर बाउंड ऑफ सेट s. bm विल बी एन अपर बाउंड ऑफ सेट s सिंस s कंटेन्स a. यहाँ पे क्या हो जाएगा? bm इज एन अपर बाउंड ऑफ सेट s. But what is the least upper bound? Xi is the least upper bound, and this is any upper bound. Xi is the smallest one, and this is any. So you can say that xi less than or equal to bm, and this is true for all m belongs to n. So you can rename this m as n also. ख्याल आ रहा है? पता चल रहा है अभय क्या हो रहा है?
Yes, sir.
So this is a very nice technique to show that xi less than or equal to bn. Okay. So let me first fix m. We show that an less than or equal to bn, and this is true for all n, obviously. Okay, so we have let n belongs to n be arbitrary. I want to show this is true for n, all n in n. So let me take n from n be arbitrary. Okay, so then we have two possibilities between m and n. Either m less than or equal to n, m is greater than n. So let us consider the first case, m less than or equal to n. Okay, so in both the cases I will show that an less than or equal to bn. So if I take m less than or equal to n, so what is the relation between im and in? Since in is a decreasing, so this inclusion will be changed. The reason is this. Okay, so you can say that im is some superset of in, or in is a subset of in. So now let me draw a figure so you will get the idea. See, in means an, this is a smaller interval, and im is bigger, so im is nothing but am. Clear? This is the figure. So now, therefore from the figure itself you can say that an less than or equal to bm, or you can see, let me write down more elaborately. In means therefore you can say that an less than or equal to bm. So in this case I have proved that an less than or equal to bm. So now let me consider case 2. What is the case 2? M is greater than n. So since in is decreasing, what is the relation between im and in? The reason is this. In is decreasing. So this implies that this is am, this is bm, this is subset of. Now let me draw a figure so you will get the idea. So this is am, this is bm, this is an, and this is. Now look at this an. An is somewhere here. Okay, and bm is somewhere here. So from this you can say that. So in both the cases I have proved that an less than or equal to bm. So thus and this is true for every n belongs to n, but bm is n. Okay, so this is true for all n in n. So what can you say about bm? Therefore bm is an upper bound of set S, but LUB of S is equal to xi. This is the least upper bound and this is any upper bound. Therefore you can say that xi less than or equal to bm. but m is arbitrary element now, and this is true for every m belongs to n. Therefore xi less than or equal to bn for every n belongs to n. Therefore you can say that, let me say this to be 2 by 1 and 2, I can say that therefore xi belongs to intersection of in. Okay. Now we do the uniqueness portion. Let me say this to be 3. Suppose if possible, let me take, now I have given that GLB. Suppose GLB of Bn minus An, where n belongs to n, if GLB of this set is 0. Now I want to show that xi is the only point. Okay, now suppose if possible, xi dash is another point, which is xi dash belongs to intersection of in, where n run from 1 to infinity. So this implies that xi dash belongs to in for every n belongs to n. So this implies that xi dash belongs to closed interval an bn for every n belongs to n. So this implies that an less than or equal to xi dash less than or equal to bn for every n belongs to n. So this implies that an less than or equal to xi dash for every n belongs to n. Okay, so xi dash is a upper bound of set S. But xi is equal to LUB, it is the least one. Therefore you can say that xi dash, xi less than or equal to xi dash, since xi is the least one and this is any upper bound xi dash. Okay, now an less than or equal to xi, xi less than or equal to xi dash, and from this xi dash less than or equal to bn, and this is true for every n belongs to n. So therefore you can say that 0 less than or equal to xi dash minus xi less than or equal to bn minus an. So the reason is this, you can say that a less than b less than c less than d, then 0 less than c minus b less than d minus a. This is always true. Okay, so according to this you can say that and this is true for every n belongs to n. Okay, so therefore what does this mean? Xi dash minus xi is a lower bound of which set bn minus an, where n belongs to n. But what is GLB? the GLB of this set is greatest lower bound is 0, and this is a lower bound, and this is the greatest one. So what can you say about this is less than or equal to 0? Already from this, therefore 0 less than or equal to xi dash minus xi less than or equal to 0. So what does this mean? Xi dash is equal to xi. So thus if xi dash belongs to intersection of in and run from 1 to infinity, this implies that psi dash is nothing but xi. So what does this mean? Intersection n equal to 1 to infinity in, this contains precisely one point, or the intersection is unique. So this is known as nested interval property. In the next chapter you will also study nested interval theorem. It is a different from this one. The proof concept of proof is different. I think both the statements are same, but the technique to prove the result is different. So this is a very important result. Okay, so this is about nested interval property. Okay, so we stop our discussion. Okay, so next time we will see the last topic of the first unit. Okay, so goodbye.